Good evening, everyone. Limo, you are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
So there, while we are with the other people, I just want to make it clear that Facebook, we owns no copyright to any song or music that we will play here today. So yes, Limo, uh, today on today's topic, do you want to share to give a little expectation of today's session, or you want to highlight on few things that you took away from yesterday presentation?
My background, okay to speak. I said outside. Hello? Jerry, you hear me?
Yes, please. Yes, please. I can hear you.
Um, Yesterday I learned a whole lot. Like you don't have to seek validation from others before doing what you want to do. Yeah, you can give
Exactly.
everything a try and do your best to everything that you are doing, no matter what other people are watching you.
That's powerful. Hey, yes, myself, I learned that from yesterday's section, I also learned that as well, that whatever you're doing, just have that, just understand that you're gonna be disappointed. People gonna disappoint you, and the people that start with you, not all of them will end with you. Yesterday's session, to be honest, was really, really, really insightful, and I learned a lot. Even if I don't say it, but I truly learned a lot from yesterday's session. And to today on a session as well, when this whole conference thing and my entire book gonna be so true again. Believe me, it's gonna be more exciting, and I will pray that we have more section. Okay, so Limo, yesterday before we never have much time to discuss. I want to know what from this whole conference we are having now, right? The next conference, if we are to host another conference, what are some of those topics you think that we should explore, to get more youth to engage, to come? What are some of the topics you think that, necessary that we also bring out to discuss and, interact with the youth?
Um, we can talk about social media and its impact. I think most especially our youth coming out, yeah, they have to know more about social media and impact. Like people go on the internet. At times they do a lot of things there. So social media and its impact. We need to talk a lot.
Okay. Social media and it impact. That's powerful. So another thing I want to understand, right? I want to know from you, what, from your own examination from your conference, what are some of those ways you think that we can, I want to know from your own observation, concerning the conference, what are some of those mechanisms we need to put in place to, engage with the youth more, to have them, come together and take the stage to lead, to be a speaker, and because there are a lot of them there, with the mind, they are ready, but they don't have the stage. So what are some of those things you think we can put in place to get those people to come out and, speak out and let other people learn from them as well?
Having to talk for like 1 or 2 months, they need to learn some things that yeah they have no idea of. Yeah.
Okay. So some of those things are like the impact of social media. And one of the things, like I stated yesterday, right? One of those things that I think our next conference we might talk about as well is how to start up your own business from scratch, right? Because there are a lot of youth. I believe there are a lot of youth today. Some of them have the money, but they don't have the business mindset. They don't know how to start. They don't even know where to begin, and when to stop, and when to seek counseling or when to seek guidance. And you find out that a lady will start with maybe something, and then before you go look in next 2 days, the business breakdown. And you see that a lot every day. People, we see that you see a market woman before you go look the market breakdown. So I think we should include that topic the next time we are having our conference, to be able to educate our brothers and sisters out there, to help them as well. I don't know what you think about that.
Jerry, you have to go over. I didn't hear you.
Okay, so I was saying that,
From a part
you know,
of business.
okay, so I was saying that one of the things that I do believe when it comes to the topic that we should talk about during our next youth conference is how to start up your own business, from scratch. Because I have seen a lot of market women, boys, the young boys, girls, they will start a business, and in the next 1 week, 2 week, 3 days, the business break down. No money again to begin, right? And I feel like it's because they don't have the basic understanding and knowledge on how to maintain that business or how to sustain that business. That's why
Yeah,
you see, today they start, and then tomorrow you can see no market again. So, I was thinking about that, but I don't know what's the thought on that.
it's a good topic. But you notice that people into business, they will end up using the principles.
Mm-hmm.
So when they go to buy a market, you will have no money to buy another market. And why you see market break down most in Liberia, especially Liberia. You will use
Yes,
the money, you use everything to the principle you want into it. And when you go and buy, you have to either credit money from somebody, or if that person not credit you, you have to sit down and not do anything.
exactly. Exactly. So yes, so we will discuss on that. I believe the other people will add their voice to it, and we might likely include it in our next topic, because we, the youth in Liberia, in South Africa, in Ghana, Ethiopia, wherever you find yourself, I mean, this is one of the essential topic that everyone would love to, get engaged in, because it's free. Like, you just have the data in your phone, and you can learn something that you should be paying for. So yes, that's why I have Vision is here. I mean, we are here to serve, educate. So, Limon, what's your thoughts on today's topic? We have one of our powerful speaker, Alice, who going to be presenting today um, on drugs abuse. We're going to be presenting today on drugs abuse. I mean, what are some of the expectation, or what are some of those things I want to
Um,
know?
I can't wait for that topic. Yes, I can say nothing much still. We have our speaker on for today's topic, and I'm expecting to learn more.
Okay. Yes, exactly, exactly. Infinite, you are welcome. Sorry, your name is not there, so I cannot I cannot call your name, but you are welcome. The lady who just joined using the infinite, you are welcome to today's edition of the Youth Teaching Youth Conference, day 6.
Thank, thank you.
Okay, so since you are here, while we await our speaker and other people, are you there?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
Yes.
I supposed
So
to be in
can
choir practice, but I just wanted to be here for at least 5 minutes.
okay. Oh, okay. That's good. That's so powerful of you, and we do appreciate that. It takes a lot. Yes. So Miss Wassett, you are welcome to our today Youth Teaching Youth Conference. And as we await our speakers, okay, she said thank you. Yeah, Limo, are you still here with us?
I'm here.
Okay, so let us start gearing up because our speaker will be with us soon. That's powerful. Oh my God, I just can't wait. The issue on
So,
drugs
Jerry,
is, yes.
I will be with you people later because I have to be in choir practice for rehearsal. So, after that, wish then I will join you.
Oh, sure. No problem. Problem.
Okay, later.
Okay. All right.
Yes, okay. Oh, I can. No one will. No stand against the Lord. No one can.
Hello, I'm so sorry for being late.
Oh, good evening and welcome.
Thank
So,
you.
guys, finally we are here and our speaker is here. The house going to be on fire.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Just give me a second. And all right. So, Limo, if you are on, please, can you mute? Okay.
Hello,
So,
Jared.
guys, we're gonna yes, you can mute. Can you mute? We're gonna give it a few minutes, 2 more minutes, and then we can kickstart. So, Limo, if you want to say something, you can go ahead while we be.
Um, I didn't wait for today's session to take a lot again and learn a lot more. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. The issue of drugs is everybody business, and it's very important that we speak about it. All right, so time wait for no man, and as we say in Africa, Liberia, time wait for no man. So, ladies and gentlemen, today our speaker is in the house. Our speaker is no other but Miss Elise. And okay, yes, please. I have it. I have it. All right. So sorry. So our speaker today is Alice Tumba Kambaya. Sorry if I mispronounced the name. Yes, she is a Congolese American high school student based in. Sorry, this is not clear for me. Please let me settle one thing quick. This is not my information. Hold on. All right. So sorry guys, I just wanted to have something clearer before we begin. This is a public status, so I just want to get things straight up before. All right, so I resume, and our speaker today is Elise Nintumba Kambaye, a Congolese American high school student and passionate about education, community engagement, and youth development with a strong interest in using her voice to create positive change. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please help me. If you are in the house today, welcome Miss Elise, our speaker for today's section. Miss Elise, you are welcome, please.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I'm just like really happy to be here as a high school student. Having an opportunity like this is just very impactful for me. And today's slideshow and my topic will be on drug abuse in youth.
Guys, can you all see my slide? Can you all
Yes.
see my screen? Okay, so yeah, I'm just trying to adjust it for you and you can.
Okay. We can move on to the next slide.
Okay.
Understanding drug abuse. Substance abuse is when someone uses any legal or illegal drugs in a way that is harmful, prescribed, unprescribed, or for pleasure. Substance abuse is any unnecessary or improper use of chemicals or like non-medicated things that we take in. Importance of knowing about drug abuse as youth. The importance of knowing about substance abuse as a youth is to be aware of the issues that come before and after taking substances. Some examples include the protection of the brain and its development, prevention of addiction and mental health issues, immediate and long-term consequences, and avoiding peer pressures. Some severe risks that are physical include damage to the heart, lungs, vital organs, losing control of body functions, and coordination. Some mental health issues that you could get from this is losing sight of the values, mental confusion, lose control of behavior, forgetfulness, and lose the ability to concentrate. The most commonly used drugs in youth, especially in America, is alcohol, being the top substance abused, marijuana/cannabis, and lastly, nicotine/vaping. Alcohol is a common depressant as it is legal to purchase and consume for people of over 21. It can be addictive over long-term use, can cause weight gain and depression. It can also lead to more risky behavior and impaired decision-making. Cannabis. The psychoactive dried parts of the cannabis plant that contains high level of THC can be smoked, vaped, ingested, as in like baked goods, in cookies and candies, for their intoxicating effect. Small personal amounts are legal in many states, including Washington, where I am, for people over the age of 21. Here we have some charts to show the usage among teens. So for alcohol in the 8th grade, which is around 14 to 15 years old, 25.6 students have used alcohol. In the 10th grade, which is from 16 to 17, is 46.6%. And in 12th grade, which is usually around 18 and up, is 61.5%. For marijuana use among teens' lifetimes, it's 11% for 8th grade. 10th grade, it's 29.7%. And 12th grade, it is 45%. For nicotine/vaping use among teens' lifetimes, it is 8.7% in 8th grade. 10th grade, 15.1%. And in 12th grade, 24.8%. What is addiction and why do teens get addicted? Addiction is when a person's body is so accustomed to a drug it becomes a need. Addiction can be both physical, psychological, or both. Teens become addicted to drugs faster and easier than adults because their brains are still under development. One common mistake that people have is that the brain is fully developed once it reaches 25, but usually the brain doesn't like completely finish development until early 30s. So that is something to keep in mind. How to recover from addiction? Yes, addiction is curable. Some ways you can recover from addiction is talking to a specialist, rehab, weaning off drugs, which means slowly like deconsuming the drugs, and removing things or even people from your life that remind/supported your addiction. Challenges in recovery. Recovery may include challenges along the way. Some challenges include physical cravings and intense withdrawals, mental health issues, and a high risk of relapse. This doesn't sound too good. If you don't want to have substances control your life, stay away. Next up, we will watch a video of 12 different teens talking about their journey with substance use and their recovery. If the video isn't able to play, I can basically give a rundown of something that has occurred in many of the teens' lives. Something that has occurred in many of the teens' lives is usually it starts from a place of like anger, sadness, depression, anxiety, and then they start either taking the drugs to feel better or taking the drugs from peer pressure. And slowly they start to get addicted without even realizing that they're addicted. And once you're addicted, it's really, really hard to stop because now they're living off of it like it's a necessity. So in this video, it's just basically 12 teens in America talking about their situation and the effects of drugs, like different drugs all over, like Percocets, marijuana, alcohol, etc. And they basically just expand on their lives and how it has impacted them. Conclusion. Substance abuse at a young age will leave negative effects, both short term and long term. You have so much to achieve in life, so don't throw it away for substances. If you already struggle with usage, it's okay. You can still take control of your life. Recovery from drug abuse is a meaningful journey of change and growth. Thank you so much for your time. Any questions?
That was powerful, and I believe there are questions. And so please, guys, we are into the A and Q section. If you have your question, we're going to take it accordingly. You can just raise your hands and you will be selected and unmute to speak out. If you don't ask a question, I'm definitely going to ask you questions. Any question? Okay, so we have Thomas. So Thomas, you can unmute and speak out.
Thank you very much, Chief. So, first of all, I would like to appreciate the presenter who presented our topic for tonight. I don't know if I joined late or not, but then when she was presenting, when we are discussing child abuse, there are factors that can lead to it. So I didn't hear her mentioning some factors, that will lead to a person, getting addicted to drugs.
To answer your question, some factors that can lead to addiction is usually it begins from like a struggle or a dark place. And some other times when it comes to youth, it like comes from peer pressure, like being around the people that use it or being led by the people that use it. And then other times it can be something that is personal, emotional, whether it's the environment they're in, like an abusive home, or whether it's like personal issues like just self-depression. And usually that's where they introduce the drugs and then they continue on consuming it until they become addicted. Does
Thank
that
you.
answer your question?
Please.
Yeah, you answer the question. Yeah. So at the end of the day, what can we do at least to help prevent ourselves from getting into drugs or harmful substances?
Some things that you can do to prevent that is from staying away from a lot of places. For example, if you go like into a club and you expect to like stay away from alcohol, but you're putting yourself in a position where there's alcohol, you will be more likely to consume it rather than if you go to maybe a library where you can consume knowledge from books and etc. So definitely that's like one way that you can prevent it, stay away from it and stay away from people that use it because your environment affects the person that you become and the person that you are.
I love that your environment affect the person you become and the person you are. That was powerful answer. And we have Miss Wassett. She has a question. Can you please unmute yourself and ask the question?
Thank you so much, Jerry, for this opportunity. And thank you so much, Elise, for the good presentation. I have two questions. My first question is, how can we talk about drug abuse without shaming the people who are struggling with it? And my second question is, which misconceptions about drug and drug addiction do you hear most often among your peers? Thank you. So to
Okay.
answer the second question first, a misconception about drug abuse that I hear a lot among my peers is that like drugs isn't a big deal and like you can't really get addicted to like nicotine. That's a very big misconception that you can't get addicted to nicotine. And even though that is true, it's way easier to stop using it. I've seen that like teens around me, once they start to vape, it's way harder for them to quit. And can you please repeat your first question? Yeah, sure. My first question is, how can we talk about drug abuse without shaming the people who are struggling with it? That's definitely an empathy thing because one, you have to put yourself in their shoes. Because at the end of the day, drug abuse started from one mistake. And as humans, we all make mistakes. So when you put yourself in a place where you're empathetic for someone else, you can kind of understand or try to relate to their situation. And having that compassion just already installs something in you that will be able to help you talk to a person going through it. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
That was powerful. And any more question? Any more question? All right. So please, another thing I want to mention, right? We should limit our questions. Ask a question at a time, not doubling the question, please. So if no one has a question, then I just have a one question for you, our speaker today. So my question here has to do with what does, let me just, all right. So uh, how can one who is already being addicted to drugs, who they have taken to the rehab, on numerous occasions, and yet still that person return back and still doing the same thing? I mean, what are some of those things you can mention or mechanisms need to be put in place for that person to, desist from that habit, even though you have taken him to a rehab and also for counseling, and you realize that the person that cannot desist from this habit? What are some of the mechanisms you think need to be put in place to help that person recover?
Um, a lot of the time, something about recovery is that the person themselves have to want it. You can't force a person to do something or else it just won't work. So definitely I would say keep up with the rehab. And I would also say if you're helping to provide the substances, like stop that. Because one thing that I've like also seen around me is that I've had peers before where their parents wanted them to stop using drugs, but they would still provide it for them. They would still keep alcohol in the house of reach of the youth. So, like I said before, try to definitely like stay away from it. Keep up with rehab because one of the best things is like to stop like substance abuse and harmful things to yourself is rehab. But other than that, something that I would keep in mind as someone who is watching someone put themselves through that situation is that if a person doesn't want it themselves, it's really, really hard to get them to change because change has to start within you.
Okay, so I have one more question, but before I go, I would love to take Lemon. Lemon, please, you can unmute yourself and ask a question.
Thank you. My question here, I want to know why can parents do to protect their children from drug abuse? You think why can a parent do to protect their younger children? on drug abuse?
Um, from a young age, I feel like you should teach them the risks, and you should teach them that drugs isn't the way, like at all. Um, Definitely just install that from a young age that like you can stay away from drugs, and if you are struggling with something, you can come to me as a parent and talk to me about it, and we can find other resources and other ways to help you get better, help you feel better.
Powerful answer. So, Lemon, if your question has been answered, then I will turn it over to Miss Wassett, and then I can go ahead with my question. So, yes, Miss Wassett, you can please unmute and ask the question.
Thank you so much, Jerry, for this opportunity once again. So, my very last question is, if a friend confided in you about substance use, what's the first thing you will do to take him through the sessions of recovery? Thank you.
Um, if I had a friend that confided in me, I would definitely ask them why they're doing it. And once they tell me why, I feel like that's when we can start making a plan. Because I feel like when it comes to substance abuse that started from like mental health issues, it's way easier to make a plan because then you could think of like therapy, you can think of like psychologists, and you can take them like to places like that, or you can like give them the options, or you could give them suggestions of like just like where they can go instead of taking it.
Thank you so much. Hello, Jerry. You seem to have been muted.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't even. Okay, so I have a question here. So, looking at the limited resources in Africa, how can we look at handling drugs in a more favorable way?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Looking at the limited resources we have here in Africa, right? How can we handle drugs in a better way to be able to help those who have already been addicted or who are suffering from drugs abuse? How can we help them with a limited resources?
I feel like that's actually like a really hard question to answer because, like you said, they have limited resources. But I feel like organizations like this could really like help them a lot. Like we could find ways to install more resources for them, and we could find like more like I said, just like ways to install more resources for them, and just find ways to bring the resources that we have in America to them there. And again, like I said, definitely preventing it from the start. Because I feel like in Africa, sometimes the way that like they sell out drugs isn't as like watched over or organized as like here. Like it's definitely probably easier for me as a teen in Africa to acquire a drug than it is for here in America. So definitely just either try to switch up the rules and regulations, um, fight for better policies over the drugs there, and organizations like this trying to bring our resources to them.
Thank you, thank you. So that was powerful, and I like the part of which you said that organization like this, like I have vision, coming up with a program like this, educating people about drugs abuse and the effect it has. So yes, Limon, you can please unmute your mic and ask the question, but please be moderate.
Thank you. So I want to know what are the long-term effects of drug abuse on families and communities?
Um, some long term effects of like drug abuse is definitely health. Like the health risks are really bad. Like drugs will lead you to your death. And as harsh as that sounds, that's the truth. Because our bodies weren't made for us to put drugs in them. Um, and definitely, just like I said before, like drugs will lead you to your death. So that's something that I would say is like the biggest long-term effect, and it's like the most harmful of them all. Like it will destroy your body parts, your lungs, your kidneys, your organs, little by little.
Okay. Okay, so Limo is okay with that. So I still have another question here for you, right? And so this session is kind of an interactive and very educative. So this is one of the part that I love, right? The A and Q section. So I want to know, what are your future plans for combating drugs abuse? Do you have any plans to develop a strategy that will be a benefit of people in our area, like maybe in Africa, in the area of drugs abuse? Do you have plans on that?
So currently I am in a marijuana prevention program. And like here in America, I feel like I have like a lot of great opportunities. And I do have a friend who was elected to work with the senator here. So I feel like maybe if I continue to make better connections, I could eventually travel on to like into Africa again and either create an organization or even talk to people of higher power.
Okay, beautiful. And we look forward to that and, seeing you. Wow. Miss Watson, please, you have to allow the other people to speak. So I'll just hold you a little bit and let our speaker breathe a little bit. And take Thomas, can you please unmute and ask a question? Thomas.
Opportunity once more, Chief. So, as we all are aware that there are families now that have children or relatives in the street that are abusing drugs today. So, I would like to know what are how does family environment, what are the environment of family play in drugs at this moment?
Can you repeat the question? It was kind of hard to hear.
So, as I was saying,
Thomas, are you there? I think he's experiencing some network issues. So while we are waiting, and I will mute him and have Miss Wassett ask her question. So yes, Miss Wassett, you had a question. Can you please speak out?
Thank you so much, Mr. Jerry, for this opportunity. And my very last question today, this is the last one, I promise.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. How do we balance accountability for a drug-related harm with compassion for addiction as a health issue? Where do we bring the balance between holding the people who are having these drug issues accountable at the same time being able to render help to them? Where do we draw the balance? Thank you.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, I can do that. So, how do we balance accountability for a drug related harm with compassion for addiction as a health issue? To elaborate on the question, is where do we bring a balance when it comes to when it comes to bringing compassion, having compassion towards these people at the same time as holding them accountable for their action? How can we balance the two?
I feel like one of the best methods is, like I said, weaning off, where you slowly um help them stop by reducing the dosage that they take. I feel like that's the best way because not only are you helping them, but you also understand that they feel as if they can't live without this. So when you start slowly taking it away while they're still like intaking it and still taking it, they still there's kind of like there's that middle ground, where you take it away, yet they're still gaining until eventually you you guys will meet at the center, and yeah, everything will be good.
Thank you so much. That was helpful.
That was powerful. And sorry, I do have another question, but maybe this won't be the last one, please. Yes, so I want to know, right? What is the most effective approach, that you think schools should use to help develop the skills to avoid peer pressure when it comes to the youth? Because we learned that, these things can be led by peer pressure, because you find yourself in a cycle. You make mention of, the place you find yourself. So I want to know, what are some of those strategies you think a school can put in place to avoid teenagers from, being addicted to drugs?
I feel like the best thing that I've seen a school do, that really helped is I used to go to the school, and like we wouldn't really talk about drugs a lot. And then they saw that there was a rise in like the usage, like in the school, and they saw that like more kids were starting to get caught with like vapes and like marijuana. And one thing that they did is they started teaching us about the risks and the effects, and I feel like it installed fear a bit in the children. And I feel like even though, yes, fear isn't always the best thing, in this case, that was one of the best things that helped us, just like making us aware of the risks and making us like know what we're consuming into our bodies isn't good. And I feel like that's the best thing that helped avoid peer pressure among students.
That is noted. Thank you. And we will take Thomas Limo. After Thomas, then you can ask a question, please. Yeah, Thomas, you can unmute and continue with your question.
Apologies, guys. I'm facing internet connectivity tonight. My internet is very, very bad tonight. So I was asking, first of all, I said, as we all are aware that today we have a family who are, suffering or being hated today because they have relative of, children in the street that are misusing drugs today. So I would like to know what are some of the roles, does the family environment play in drug abuse?
I feel like some of the roles that play into drug abuse is a lot of like negligence and like ignorance towards the whole situation. I feel like when a child has a good support system and they feel as if, okay, I can talk to my mother or my father or my guardian about it, um, it helps a lot. And a lot of the times, the children or like the teens or the youth or the people that are in the streets, they're there because they didn't have a good support system and they didn't have someone to show them the right way or the way that would be more beneficial than the way that they're already living.
That was powerful. So, Limo, can you please unmute and ask the question?
Thank you, Jerry. So, why do you think drug abuse remains a major problem in America despite years of awareness campaigns and prevention?
I didn't really hear you. Can you please repeat yourself?
Well, I think that is
Limo, can you
Asking you
please
to
repeat the
repeat.
question?
okay. Why do you think drug abuse remain a major problem in America despite years of awareness campaigns and prevention?
Um, One of the biggest things in America is that like a lot of teens can access it like really, really easily. Like you will see teens selling to teens, and I feel like that's because a lot of adults like to push aside that, oh, this is a teen, and they like to see what they can gain from selling to the kids, which is money. So I feel like the whole issue is definitely the people who sell to the kids, and I feel like it's also the parents who like almost support the kids or they allow their kids to do it. So I definitely think that's one of the reasons why some, like, even though we have these organizations, it kind of feels like we're still stepping back in time instead of moving forward.
Thank you. Yes. So Matthew, you're welcome, and you came and met the discussion. So if you have a question, you can go ahead because we will soon be wrapping up to give our speaker the floor to close. So if you have a question, please feel free.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry. Thank you so much. So before I ask my question, so I have just two questions, but probably because of time, I'll just ask one. But we also have a question in the chat, and the question says, what is your story behind this topic, drugs abuse? What inspired you to address drug abuse? And also, why is it so important to you? And can we really limit the usage of drugs abuse within the society we live in today? Hope you get the question right, man.
So my story behind why I like to fight a lot against drug abuse is because one day I was in a school bathroom and it was me and a bunch of girls, and then one of them pulled out like this like cookie, and I consumed it, and I didn't like know that there was marijuana in it. But basically, I reacted really badly to it, and I had to go to the hospital because of it. And I feel like that's one thing that I like fight against a lot because it's like that happened to me, and I just I know how it feels like to be affected by it, like firsthand. So that's why I fight against it a lot.
Okay, thank you so kindly, man. So I want to, another question says, how does peer pressure influence drugs abuse among youth?
Peer pressure influences drug abuse among youth because I feel like as a teen, I want to be liked by my peers and I want to be um, perceived as cool. And a lot of other people feel that way because I have talked to people and I've asked them, why did you start vaping? And some of them either don't have answers or they'll tell me, oh, I don't know, it just began with like my friends. Like peer pressure is more of an issue than we think. Like 5 times out of 10, the reason why a teen starts vaping or smoking or drinking is because of peer pressure, because they were at the wrong setting, or because they were at the wrong party, or because they were with the wrong friends.
So thank you. So my first question says, if looking at the issue of drugs abuse, so if drugs abuse continues to increase, right? And let's say if drugs abuse continues to increase among young people, so what do you think the future of our communities, like in the next 2 to 3 years, how will that be like?
I feel like it'll be very detrimental because the future is within the youth. If the youth isn't right, if we're not in the right state of mind, if we're killing our brains before they're even developed, later on is going to impact us because at the end of the day, we will be the ones leading the country. So I just feel like definitely like in the next few years, if drug abuse continues to be on the rise, we will see a lot of issues, a lot of health issues, a lot of social issues, because like I said, the future is within the youth.
So thank you so kindly, ma'am. I really do appreciate your answers to all of our questions tonight. Thank you so kindly for the section. Sherry, you can take over, please.
All right, so that was powerful, and all of our question was answered, and I believe we are all pleased, and we'll be going home with something very productive, and also go home, educate our friends, and speak against drugs abuse. So we will give the floor to our speaker to give her parting comment as
I, I
we come
do
to a conclusion.
I do have a question
Okay,
here in the chat room. But if you guys want me to go ahead and say it before she close out,
okay,
I would
yes,
appreciate
please.
that.
You have a question?
Yes, please.
So yeah, boss, before you come in, I think I read the question out already and she did answer it.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
I think
Oh,
I dropped
yes.
a second question there. Did you see it? The second one?
No, you can just read the second one out.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'll just go ahead. I mean, she was answering Limu's question and she talked about the accessibility when it comes to drug abuse, how teens in the US can easily access drug abuse, if I'm correct. So I guess my question was basically most countries around the world basically mimic the United States in terms of mechanisms put in place to fight these type of things, right? So my question to her was if the accessibility or how teens in the US easily assess drug abuse, that would also indicate that the prevention mechanisms put in place by the United States might not be so effective, right? So if that's the case, would she say that other countries around the world should adapt those approaches when it comes to fighting drugs, or should they develop their own approach? That is my question.
To answer your question, I feel like there are some pros and cons to the ways that we operate in America. And I definitely feel that they should adopt the pros and not the cons. And yeah, they should develop better ways because at the end of the day, we're not perfect. And if there is a better way to limit the use of drug abuse in the youth, then they should definitely go with that way instead of our way.
That's a brilliant response. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
So yes, while you are there, you can give your parting comment, and we can head to our next section for today.
Thank you so much for everybody's time. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation, listening to my story, and for all the questions that you've given me. This is an amazing opportunity, like I said, because I'm only 15 years old, I'm in high school, and I feel like this is one of the things and one of the reasons why I continue to be an advocate for things like this because of organizations like this to prevent what happened to me in the school bathroom from happening to other youth and other people around me. And if you ever have any issues with substance abuse that is like very severe, you can call 911. You can call the mental health and suicide crisis line. It's 988. Or you can reach out to your nearest therapist or psychologist or your nearest rehab center. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and that was powerful. It was nice having you here today, and guys, so we call it the end of the first session, and our second session will begin soon. You can please make sure and stay online. Matthew, are you here?
I'm here. I can't wait for our next speaker to, come on. We await that in a few minutes time, hopefully. He gonna join us. So our next section gonna be on public service versus public image, and it is a wonderful section that we can't afford to miss as well. So we will just give it a couple of minutes for our speaker to join us shortly. So we want to say, whatever you are watching from, we want to say thank you so kindly again for being with us. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, we want to say thank you for being here with us. We want you to always invite someone so we all can be part of the learning process of each and every session on this platform. So we encourage you to always invite someone to join us. So as we wait for our speaker to join us, we will just take a few, intake on our next topic. We want, like we've been saying since day one, this event is being organized for every one of us to be able to gain the opportunity to speak, to be able to learn from each other. So it's not just all about our speakers. So we want our participants to feel part of whatever we are doing here at our vision. So you people are the sole purpose and reason why this event is being created. So without your voices, we won't know if we are doing the right thing or if we are doing the wrong thing. So like we always say, bring all of your hard questions. We are here to learn from each other. We are here to answer all of the questions. And if we don't get the answer rightly, it is upon you to at least object and say, this is that, and then we will welcome it in good faith and learn from it as well. So we will just take three persons. We want you to just share with us your understanding on the next topic when it comes to the aspect of public service and that of public image. What do you understand about the topic? We just want you to share with us, briefly, so we can give ample time to our speaker to take over. So you can kindly unmute your mic and share with us what's your take on our next topic for today. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. K, for opening the floor so that we can give our idea on the difference between public service and that of public image or public service versus public image. So I think as per my concept, I see public service to be action or maybe, okay, let's say the duties or our work that we do that actually benefit our community, benefit our environment or people around us. So I think public service mainly focus on serving people. It needs to serve people to serve the environment and improving the environment, improving the society as well. But when you look at public image, I see it more as how people perceive you, how people refer to a person, or an organization. It should be more of repetition for public image, your appearance. Yeah.
So thank you so kindly, Thomas, for always being here with us, and thank you for your input. We'll ask next time if you are speaking, you can kindly, put on your camera so we can at least let the people see your face, let the people see, the individual that is making such a wonderful point. So we will take another person. Yeah, thank you, Thomas. So we'll take another person. You can just give us your view on public service and public image. We want to hear from you guys. Everybody have their own idea on each of these topics. So we want to hear from you guys, before we can come in with our own. Yeah, we are here to learn and unlearn some things. So please, um, let us say something. Let us say something about this topic. It's actually important that everything that we are learning, at least we be able to recap on some things. So with this topic, it is a wonderful topic, and I wish I had the opportunity also to speak on this topic. It's a fantastic topic we can look at. So we just giving the flow to the next two person, um, because our speaker will soon be with us in the next 2-3 minutes. He will soon be with us. Or let's just say, let us take one person, a female. Yeah, let us take a female. What's your take on public service and public image? Please speak up. You people are the backbone of this event. So we want you guys to please say. So yes, I was saying, please, to all of our females here, please, kindly unmute your mark and say something, please. We beg you. So, while we are with our females to say something, so this section, um, we have a lot of females online, and probably as we go in the conversation, probably your understanding going to, you're gonna have that broader understanding on what we're about to discuss. So we will be discussing a topic that is more, like is becoming increasingly relevant in our society, and that is public service and that of public image. So you get to see that in a world that is being driven by social media, you know, and you also look at the aspect of publicity, you look at the aspect of public recognition as well. So there are many people uh, that are concerned, not just they are concerned not just about what they do, right? But they are also concerned about how they are to be perceived, like Thomas rightly said. So, and this actually erases a serious, or let's just say an important question. And that question could be, is it more important to serve people genuinely, or to maintain that kind of a positive image? Because we get to see that public service is about making a meaningful contribution to lives, right? And not just to life, but the life of other people as well. So we get to see that, right? So, and if in that aspect as well, you get to see it being focused on impact, it's being focused on sacrifices, it's being focused on responsibility, it's being focused on meeting the needs of others. You know, you need to meet the needs of other people. So if we are looking at public image, you get to see that public image, you get to see that it looks at the aspect of how we refer to how people perceive us. And Thomas rightly said everything to us, in his statement, right? He said it to us. So I think our speaker is already here. So to just conclude on that, if you look at public image, it talks about our repetition, right? That impression that people have, or better still, our identity, and that identity that you project in public for people to see you. So without much ado, like I said, I hope I could talk a little bit, but our speaker is here, and we have to give the stage to our speaker for a fascinating discussion tonight. Whatever you're watching us from, we want to say thank you again for being here with us. We want you to kindly share. If you're watching on Facebook, kindly share the live stream. If you're also watching on YouTube, please uh, do us a favor, because in your sharing, you can also be imparting another person that's going to come across this live stream. So again, we want to say thank you, and we will now turn over to our second session speaker for today. That are going to be elaborating on the aspect of public service and that of public image. It's no one else but I stand to be corrected with the name Sensi Camara. So you're welcome, sir. For Thank you for coming. We really appreciate you. You can take over if you are ready. Sensi, if you are ready, you can kind of take over.
Okay, so let me say thanks to the leadership of a high vision for the opportunity to join this platform where we can share ideas of important that will shape our global community. So, I mean, it is a good thing to be here. And let me say thanks to all the participants and thanks to all the previous speakers for their deliberation. They have been really, really a great one. I follow some, and I must say he has been an educated here. And today is an opportunity to speak on public service versus public image. So can I just have my slide display quickly, please? Thank you. So public service versus public image. And one thing we can say on this kind of topic is a topic was significant. And if we have to delve into the topic deeper, it means we firstly have to understand the few basic. So one of the things I can always tell people, I say, to determine the quality of services being rendered in the country and to know the kind of mindset of leadership in a country, you just have to look at the citizen and resident life. So the way the citizens and resident in our country lives, it tells you the kind of services, to what extent the kind of services that is affordable, and it reflects the mindset of the leaders there. So public service and public image, in this, we're going to understand the difference. We're going to understand the relationship, and we're also going to understand how they play on in society. Because I made public service and public image, it has role to play in society. So we're going to understand how they play on in society. So now, to go there, there are a few goals that we have, and we will have to make sure that our goals are met. So in this, we were going to make sure to a certain extent to explain the whole concept of public service and that of public image. And also going to highlight the sole responsibility of public servants. Because whenever you are in a public space, there are responsibilities. But amongst all, there's just one responsibility that, yeah, it just raises high above every other responsibility. And we're gonna make sure that we can cover that. And we're also gonna at least give a point that we can measure the efficiency and effectiveness of a service. If a service is rendered or services that are to be rendered for the public, there should be measuring skill. So we're going to know from what background we can measure these services and determine whether these services are effective and efficient, or they are just mere building the image and not yielding the required result. And also we're going to determine how public service influences public image and vice versa. So let me get the next slide, please. So we have the content. So in our content, we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to hit introduction that we're not going to take all long. We're going to talk about the concept of public service. We're going to talk about the concept of public image. Now we're going to explain lengthily on the relationship between public service and that of public image. And also we're going to split the differences between public service and public image. We're also going to, because all of these things have challenges too. So we're going to state some of those challenges that confront public service delivery. We're going to also state some of the challenges that confront public image. We're also going to, at least, we're not just going to highlight those problems, but we're going to, at least to a certain extent, provide some possible ways to improve public service deliveries. And some way we can also improve public image of individual serving public services. So we're going to get a call to action. We need to have a call to action, and we'll get a conclusion. Then we'll go to our question and answer. So now, if you look there, we have. So the thing that is, before we go into this, we're going to start with this Bible story. And it's popular, and the Bible says, Genesis 1, it says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and earth. Then in verse 2, it says, and the earth was without form, and it was void. The earth had no form, and the earth was void. And then the Spirit of the Lord, even though it had no form and it was void, but yet it said the Spirit of the Lord moved upon the face of the earth. But there's something that happened there. When he noticed that, he said, let there be light. And immediately light came, and he separated light from darkness. Why did I bring this story? So I bring this story in two concepts for to understand two things from there. The first thing that the earth was without form and void. And God saw it was not necessary, and he called for light. So the responsibility of light is to take away the darkness at certain points of the day and to give way to the darkness at certain point of the day. So it means light has its own space or responsibility, while darkness also has its own responsibility. But God said then there should be a source of light. So remember, light, the general responsibility of light is to give vision, is to provide vision. So if a light cannot provide vision, it means the light lost its source, a responsibility. It's not carrying on a responsibility. Definitely causing problems in in its entirety. It loses a value. If the light cannot provide vision, it loses its value. So God made darkness and he made light. So if the sun refuses to give light, it means the sun has lost its value. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say public service has a core value. And the core value of public service is focused on serving society and meeting the public needs. That's the entirety of public service, is to serve society and meet the public needs. Then as for public image, it refers to the individual. How do individual or institutions are perceived by the public, or how these individual or institutions carry on their value or their functions. How these individual or institutions carry on their function. That has to do with the image. But now the core thing there is both of them influence each other. Public service can influence public image, as public image can also influence public service. So they are interrelated. But now, the whole basic here is we should understand that public service are activities that are carried out for the welfare of citizens. And they come out in government, they come out in NGOs, they come out in all other areas. So when a government is formed, the sole responsibility of a government is to provide, is to serve the needs of the citizen. And we all citizens have different needs. But holistically, there are needs that we all have in common. And it's the sole responsibility of the government to serve these needs. So when people are appointed into public sector, their sole responsibility is to serve the needs of the citizens. So for example, it's our right to good healthcare delivery. It's our right to education. It's our right to security. It's our right to do a lot of things. So if a government is appointed and public servants are placed in this authority, their core responsibility is to ensure that these citizen needs are met. And to meet these needs of these citizens, there are what we call TOR. And in this TOR, a place in different room. Now, go to the next slide. I have to do a public statement for me, please. Okay. So public service are activity carried out for the welfare of citizens. Now it's common in governance, it's common in NGO. So it's a binding responsibility of every government to make sure that the security of the citizen is being met. It's a binding responsibility of every government to make sure that healthcare deliveries is being given at a best. So we are not saying everything will be done by the government. If the government does not have the need to make it work out, the government can use other medium. That's why partnership comes into existence. Government can partner with other institutions to make sure these public services are provided. So if you look there are few public services that we have done it, and they are all important. So now in public service, there are ethics and there are responsibility, and the people or the public servants are held accountable. I say again, in public service, or there are ethics, there are responsibility, and they are held accountable. So if you look at something today, like the justice system has a sole responsibility to serve justice to all citizens, BA or whosoever they are, whatever status or whatever. It's the sole responsibility to make sure that justice is served to all citizens. So if the justice system refuses to carry on that responsibility, then it means they are to be held accountable. They are to be held accountable. So public service is of more importance, and it transcends beyond just how we see it to be. It transcends beyond that. Now let's look at what's public services, and there's because there's an area where we're going to dive in lengthily. Public service is necessary for social equity. Now, if we look at a few years ago, uh, the issue of female genital mutilation was really high in rural areas. And if you do some study, you will realize that female genital mutilation has some negative health implications to those involved. So for the government to preserve the life or to protect the lives of those involved, the government know they cannot go further, so they have to use other channels to ensure that female genital mutilation is at the minimum level. If we look at another thing like drug abuse now, drug abuse is one of the major problems our country faces with. So now it means it is the security sector responsibility to provide the service of protecting the country from the harmful substances. So if the government or the justice system or the security system cannot curtail the use or the uses of drug in our environment, it means it exposes the citizen to danger. That's why we say that to protect these citizens from drug and from armed robbery, one major thing the security have to do is to ensure that there is continual passage. So, like if you do policing, it will tell you there's a state in policing that will tell you that one way to make criminal afraid is through the patrol of security personnel in an area. So if you look at an area, for example, like one of our slums community, like let's take the area there in town. If you look at one of our slums community where armed robbery and other crimes are at the higher level, to ensure that these things are curtailed, what can be done is for security personnel to always be in that environment. Let that a send message to those bad boys that these security personnel are protecting this area. So it send a message that will have to allow them to leave that area for a certain point in time. So it means the sole responsibility is social equity. That is, justice should be served to the poor, justice should be served to the rich, justice should be served to anybody once you are a citizen or a resident of that country. That's one. The second one is public safety. So public service is important because of public safety. When security personnel are in various areas, one thing it shows to the criminal in that area that this area is a no-go zone. And they will tell us that light is also of importance. So if the library legislative cooperation, for example, that is to provide light for the country, if she always provide her light, it simply means that if I live in my one area and I have light around my area, that light alone serves as security to my area. If I'm in, I can watch all those that move around my area once I'm awake. It also scares those bad balls. So that's another safety there. Another one will say it protects our environment. And this one is very more important. If you look at rural area like Bon County, where I usually spend most of my time, if you look at Bon County, there are other concession companies all over the area. And then doing their mixing of chemical, they do so a lot of things with that chemical that it pollute the atmosphere and it also contaminate the water that the people drink from. So it's the government responsibility to ensure that these concession companies they can dispose their waste in a proper channel that doesn't affect the life of the citizen there. That's another responsibility, or that's one necessity of public service. Now, let's go to the needs. There are basic needs of human. And I'm not going to talk on all of the needs. I'm just going to leave there were few. The first one is psychological needs. So while public service is important, so one of the major needs of citizens is the psychological needs. That is, all public service or all public services have responsibility. One is to meet the psychological needs of people. And that's the responsibility of government. One, and psychological need, we just have few that we're going to talk about, is to ensure that citizens have food to eat. It's the responsibility of public servant. Now, how does it work? Ministry of Agriculture should ensure that the availability of food on the Liberian market is to a higher extent that citizens can be able to purchase those food at affordable prices to be able to meet their needs. So the psychological need, this triangular thing is Abraham Maslow hierarchies of needs. And this triangular hierarchies of needs state that if government can meet all of these basic things of citizens, it means real impact is being felt in a country. When I say meet all of the needs, it that has to be 100%. It has to be at 75 or 80%. If we mean 85 to 75 to 80% of these needs, it simply means that real impact can be measured in a country. So we have psychological need. It's government responsibility to make sure that the air that citizens take in is safe. That's why we have EPA. So it means EPA has a responsibility is to ensure that the environment that citizens dwell is safe for their lives. We have shelter. It's government responsibility to ensure that citizens have access to shelter, have access to good hygiene, and have access to rest. I mean, so all of these public servants that we have, they all fall in this thing of providing this need of all citizens. If we go to the next one, we have safety and security. No, we stay on the same slide. We have safety and security. Now it's the public servant responsibility to ensure that citizens are defended against war. It's to ensure that there is low robbery crime, to ensure that justice is served to all citizens despite who they are. And also they are responsible to ensure that there are good health delivery. So when we say security and safety, it means the lady that is pregnant, she can give birth freely without having mortality. Like maternal mortality is one of it. Imagine in this century that we live, and we are still a country that still suffering from maternal mortality. So it means it's public servant responsibility to ensure that maternal mortality rate is at the lower level. It's public servant responsibility to make sure that our people have self-esteem. Like the organization, the NGO that we run called Change Makers of Liberia. And one of the things we talk about, we preach of, is the right of people living with disability. And a couple of those things that they are always struggle with is the fact to self-discovery and the fact of being accepted in a community or in an environment. So most of them say if you go do a random survey, like we have done numerous surveys, do random survey on your own, you get most of them telling you say the reason we don't go to school, not that we don't want to get education, but even at the educational area or educational institutions, we are still being bullied. So it's government responsibility to a higher extent to make sure that people living with disability can also have rights to all of these things that those that are normal have. It's public service responsibility to ensure that all of these services are given to all citizens despite their physical conditions. It's government responsibility to ensure to certain level that people living with disability or people that are that have mental issues or people that have some level that are going through rapes and other things can still get that thing of self-esteem where community or the society can still accept them. It's a government responsibility. Now, before we go there, before we compare and contrast the both of them, let's look at something we have the Johannes window. So the Johannes window, if you look at the window, it's a square window having 4 areas. And the 4 areas talk about major things because we're about to dive into public image. So now, the first window there we have the arena. And that's when we have the blast spot. But I want to focus mostly on the arena and the blast spot, window 1 and window 2. What is arena? Because remember, we say public image is the perception that the people have for an individual or for an institution. That's why we talk about public image. So the arena, in that arena, that's what you know about yourself as a person and what the society know about you as a person. That's what we mean by the arena. So in that Johannes window, the arena means the characteristics or things that the individual knows about himself and the society know about him. So for example, we have Councillor Tiawan Gonglo, and that's one of Liberia councillors that I really loved. Now, everybody can call him poor man lawyer. Everyone can call him poor man lawyer. And we can also call him the integrity icon. So he knows he stands for integrity, and society knows that he stands for integrity. So it means that portion of Councillor Konga life, it falls in the arena. Now we have the blind spot. And there's the major one that all leaders have to take key note on. The blind spot is what the society know about you, the leader, and you don't know about yourself. It's in your blind spot. What the society know about you, the person, and you don't know it about yourself. It's in your blind spot. So look at something. In one of Johnson Maxwell book in How to Influence People, he said something. He said there's something we call borrowed influence. And in that logic of borrowed influence that you're pushing, he said, imagine I am he was setting the example, saying, imagine I'm a mathematics instructor, for example, and I'm not taught a student, but I walk out and like for example, another person taught a student. And when I enter that area, then the mathematics instructor for that school, let's assume I'm a mathematics instructor and I enter the school. And another mathematics instructor saw me and he walked out to me and said, oh, how you doing? And we lecture for some time. Then when he went to his student, he said, oh, that person that I spoke to is a very good mathematician. He solves problems in different ways. And he had high IQ. Now, Johnson Maxwell is saying in that context, the student have not interfaced with that instructor being talked about, but because they are interfaced with their instructor and their instructor have praised that other instructor, it means they have higher respect for that instructor that are being praised, that borrow influence. And it happened in this era of how to do with public image. So, for example, as someone look at Councillor Tiawo Gonglo, a very reputable councillor in Labrador, and looking at the current state of our justice system is delivering, but to a certain extent, they are now up to the task. So, Councillor Cooper, Councillor Gonglo has some level of integrity, high level of integrity. If we take that integrity apple and place him to the justice system, and we place him in the justice system, what happened there is the perception that we all citizens have for that justice system automatically going to change. It's going to change because a person of integrity has just entered that stage. So we have the influence that since the guy we know him to be an integrity icon, he has the power to influence the system and cause a change in the system. That's the perception. So remember, the perception of the people is subjective in a sense that is how they feel, is how they think, and how they analyze. So if Councillor Gonko is placed into that system, it means we have the perception, since an integrity icon, he will influence the system and cause change within the system. So it means everyone going to be happy and wish that better results will come. So it means our probability that the justice system will deliver to the higher extent is high. So it means we expect more justice services to be provided that will help the life of citizens in that country. That's what we are saying. So in this Johari's window, we have the blind spot and we have the arena. And all public servants, one thing they should take into consideration is to note that their blind spot is to find way to get to their blind spot. It's kind of difficult. It's kind of difficult to a higher extent, but there are ways you can penetrate to understand your blind spot because we're talking about public image. So in our country, there are two things that happen quickly. One, most of our leaders or most of our politicians, they have framed themselves to a certain extent that they feed the citizen, but they don't deliver the services needed for the citizen. So what happened is the services they are out to provide for the citizen, they will not provide those services to the larger extent for the citizen, but then they will present themselves that they are doing well. So like during the senatorial by-election that took place in Mosuralo, there were people that came out and people were praising them all over. And those people, they built themselves in to the extent that they actually going to solve the problems of Liberia, or they actually going to provide the services to the fullest for the citizen. So when they frame themselves, the citizen look at them to be like the demon god. The citizen look at them to be the moon god. And the citizen say, okay, let's place them there and see what become the result. Now, when they go there, they are not delivering those services. So it means the perception of the citizen can change in time. The perception of the citizens can change in time. So that jump quickly to the slide 10. So what are factors that affect public image? One of the factors is honesty and transparency. To get a good public image is to be honest and to be transparent. Is to be honest and to be transparent. To get a good public image is to have good communication style. So, for example, like we use our jungle energy power. So, if for any reason, JP will not provide current for so and so time, like let's assume tomorrow from 10 to so and so time, they will not be able to provide power for the resident. They will text everyone, because once you purchase your meter, they have all of your details and they will forward a message to all of you. And you will understand, okay, from X, Y, and Z time to so and so time, there will not be power because of X, Y, and Z reason. The people are informed. So if we come to our current state here, like one of our political leaders was saying, or EDC should be under Library rainy season legislative cooperation. So you were saying the the gap between LDC to the final consumer of the product, the communication gap is so wide. There isn't communication going on. So people perceive that LDC will not get a good public image because they don't communicate to their citizens. If you look at Ministry of Education, for example, Ministry of Education, once there's a scholarship or that is up now, she communicates it. So a Ministry of Education wants, for example, want to ensure that education services are provided to everyone to a certain extent. They have to communicate. If you do management said one of the things there is communication, because communication there is important to ensure that the work is being done. So communication is very much key in producing a good public image. Another one is social present. But now let me say this. This can be a twofold. It can be positive and it can also be negative. So for like in the aspect of LDC fail to, for example, to a certain extent, they fail to alert their citizens on things that will happen in times to come. So the citizens just bump into it. And when they bump into it, they build different perception for LDC that which affect the image of LDC to a negative. If you look at our justice system, one of the things we think is say our justice system is say carry the code, they suppose say I carry the code and get money. So there's an image of the justice system that have been built to the extent that if you don't have money, you cannot be served justly. They say if you don't have money, you cannot be served justly. And the people don't just say it, but there are specimens that people they can point out to say from this condition we deduce that we cannot get justice because we don't have money. From this other condition, we can clearly say that we cannot get justice because we don't have money. So these are all images that have been built. So if the justice system will have to get better image, it means communication is key, and timely delivery of justice will be key for them. Then we have something called the leadership behavior. That is how the leadership works from the head all the way to the least person is very much important. It's very, very much important. And we have the public achievement and standards. The public achievement and standard also affect public image. How does public achievement affect? Now, like I love this lady, and I love her so much. Like the foreign affairs minister that we have. Before taking over that seat, there were a whole lot of things said about her. There were a whole lot of speculations that went on about her. So it means the image a librarian have for her, to a larger extent, many librarians have negative or bad perception about her. But when she went there, within the course of time, she had transformed things to a larger extent. Now she rebuilt the image of the foreign ministry. So it means the leadership and the public achievement matters a lot. Within our split of time, Labrador is able to serve on the Security Council. Within a period of space of time, I mean, there are decentralization of the foreign affairs. To a certain extent, if you go way down in Bon County, we have area where you can access, you have to come way in Mosurado to get access to let's say to work up your passport business. You can stay right in Bon County there and do everything, your fingerprint, everything, they will send it here, print out your passport and send it there, and you get your passport from there. Decentralization. So this public achievement has just built the image of the foreign ministry. If you look at if you look at Minister Kura and Ministry of Youth and Sport, now for a long period of time, people have been saying, what are youth ministry doing for the youth? They're not doing anything for the youth. But imagine just within recent time, I mean, over 100 young Liberians are being given an opportunity to work in various places to get hands-on experience. So it means what she has there done, it's a public achievement for that ministry. So it has improved the public image of the ministry. So it means if we have to measure public image to a certain extent, we have to look at the real impact that is being made to the citizen in that country and the resident in that country. That's how we can measure that. So now let's take the difference quickly. There are differences between public service and public image. One, so public services focus on actions and service delivered. So for public service, there are actions, there are responsibility, and how these people carry on their responsibility. That's the sole responsibility of public service to ensure that citizens' needs are met to a certain extent. So it means there should be planning, there should be coordination, there should be there should be controlling to ensure that these services are given to the citizen. Now, for public image is based on perception and repetition, a repetition of a person. So the perception of the people and how a person is known for in a community is focused on public image. Now, most of our leaders, they focus more on building a public image than providing service. And I can tell anyone, the best way to a certain extent to influence people is to ensure the position you are trusted with, you deliver to the letter. You deliver to the letter. That's one way you can influence people's life. So if you are given an authority to serve as let's say just say as monitoring and evaluation officer at the Ministry of Education, it means those schools that the prerequisite to opening or to establishing school to secondary level should be met to a higher extent. If it is not met, anyway, anyhow you choose to just cover up the system, it affect the Ministry of Education. It will not affect you. It will affect you as an individual, but holistically it affect the Ministry of Education and it affect the minister because the minister takes the blame. So it means whatever position we are given to serve in, to a larger extent, we are to execute our task to the letter to ensure that the citizen benefits for the services required. Public service, again, is responsibility and detail driven. It is the public image subjective or public opinion driven. So public service measure real impact. That is it measures impact. What have the person done in a period of time? How have these services shaped the mind or shaped things in our country? That's why public service measure real impact. It based on real impact. While public image is just measure on popularity and trust. So now I go to the major one of relationship. So good public service often improves public image. Good public service often improves public image. Now, what does it mean? So assume that, like I set an example working with the foreign minister. Before she takes over, there were a whole lot of things said about her. And I mean, to a larger extent, she as a person, to a larger extent, were affected by it, by those things said. But what she did, she noted that she will not go to every library and say, I'm not a kind of person, I'm not a kind of person, I'm not a kind of person. So to improve her public image, what she did, she delivered the services of the foreign ministry, I mean, to the letter for just the period of time she had been there. She delivers it to the letter. So because of the delivery, her image now has been it has gone to a certain level in Liberia and even the world globally. Even the world globally. So it means if we provide the services good, the image, it has to be good. Now, a strong public image can increase public trust. That's one thing we have to do. So, like Councillor Tiawon Gonglo, that like I said on him, Councillor Tiawon Gonglo have a very good public image. So, for any reason now, if let's assume the president say, okay, we are assuming now, we appoint Councillor Tiawon Gonglo here agreed to serve in the justice system, to serve as the, let's say, on the bench as the chief justice. It means all of us citizens, because we know him to be a person of integrity, our trust in the public sector now, it will increase, in that justice system will increase because of the strong public image that Councillor Tiawon Gonglo has. Now we have Poor public service can damage. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
For example, you can good good, and the justice system doesn't reflect the kind of image he get. It damage his reputation. So poor public service can damage reputation. Now, a positive image without real service may not last. So, for example, you can have a very good public image, but if you don't provide the real service for the entity you are being trusted with, it will not last long. At first, the people will say, okay, he's just getting there, that give him period of time. And after 2 to 3 years, and if they are not seeing anything within you, they will take you from there. So that's how it works. So you can get a very good public image, but if you're not providing real service that will affect the lives of the citizen, it means your public image will not last long. It will actually have to go to the drain. Now look at the challenges that are confronting public service and public image. When we have corruption and lack of accountability, that's one thing that affect our public sectors. Corruption. So imagine imagine that we are to we are to we are to recruit we are to recruit we are to invest certain amount of money into the educational center to ensure that to a larger extent that educational services are provided. And then the first requisite will tell you to get a high school library. You must have what we call laboratory and all other things. So if we want to invest the kind of money there, and according to the fact this government institution doesn't have it, and the government says, okay, that invest the money to make sure that all government institutions have or laboratories and have all of necessary things needed to provide quality educational services. And those leaders that are ahead of it take your money and just do whatever they want to do with it. It simply means that it's a challenge to public service. I mean, the service that are to be provided will not be provided to the larger extent. So it affects the same country. So one problem that affected our country globally is the issue of corruption and lack of accountability. The issue of corruption and lack of accountability. Another thing is miscommunication and misinformation. It can affect public image and it can affect public sectors. For example, we are not being people are not being informed, and that's one thing there. That's one recommendation that we will talk about in nearest time. We also have what we call so like media institution all over now. I mean, it should be independent institution, but in like to a certain extent, there are media institutions that just stay in one place and they just say all kinds of things. Whether be it the right thing or the wrong thing, they just say it anyhow. So because the media institution in Labrador is not balanced to a certain extent, it can affect a person in the person image. It can also affect the kind of services being rendered. So that's one of the challenges we face in post-war country like Liberia when it comes to public service delivery and public image. So, for example, if there's a service being provided in a rural part of Liberia, I mean, media institutions should make sure and sound it so that citizens in that area can know that okay, if you need police clearance and other things, you can go to a certain so area in your country there and access it. With that, the citizen will build a better image for I mean the police sector. Now, how can we improve? And this what we will elaborate quickly. How can we improve? So to improve public service delivery, we have to integrate technology. That is, we have to make use of technologies in service delivery. We have to have having digital platform for citizens to engage with agency or entity in accessing or reporting feedback for efficiency. So like there's something in management called feedback mechanism. And that feedback mechanism, all leaders is actually good for leadership because it tells you your fault. It tells you it's a way that you understand what lies in your blind spot and you work on them to bring it into your arena. So feedback mechanism is important. So for us now to improve public service delivery in Labrador, one thing we have to do is to integrate technology. And how can we do that? And that's one thing I must applaud the Labrador National Police for quite recently. I've learned that you can do your if you want a police clearance, the system is I think the system is open now to a certain extent, but I saw that so to a certain extent you can access your police clearance to do. You can do everything online from your home and you submit everything. The only thing you have to go there, you have to do all of the remaining process, the fingerprint, other thing, and you get in. That's a very good initiative. So it means we have to integrate technology to a certain extent. Agencies of government, imagine there are agencies of government that their website is not functioning to a certain extent. It's not functioning. And because it's not functioning, they don't have feedback. And citizens that are in rural area are not able to communicate to them except they have to come to town. And like that, you will not be able to understand all of those things that are going to. That why monitoring, evaluation, and learning say that all of these things are necessary. All of these things are necessary. You have to monitor all of the services you provide because you have to get feedback for improvement. So it means one of the ways we can improve public service delivery is to integrate technology. Then we also have to look at citizen engagement. That is, we have to engage with citizens through town hall meetings, through surveys, and through radio announcements. That is, for example, if a government is going in Nima County and having to establish a substation there for let's say they to access police clearing and other things there in Nima County, the government should be able to, I mean, use most of the media institution in Nima County and make sure that the people are aware that they heard about what the government, the undertaking of the government in that county. Let that build a better, good public service delivery. Another thing is to engage with the citizen. Let government go to the citizen. Okay, we have this substation here. How do you grade the substation through the surveys? How do you grade the substations? Or on the working of on the in performing their services, 1, 2, 3. How do you grade them? All of these things will give you feedback, and if feedback, it will give you an informed thing to make decision. Government should engage with citizens. Okay, citizens, what are these things you're lacking in here that you think if we provide, we ease the tension or we ease the burden in this country? So this community engagement is very much important for the quality of services being provided. Like if it, all businesses can do that. Like if you do business to a certain level, businesses can do this to a extent where if you want to improve your quality, they will come to their various citizens of I think about these renowned businesses. They'll open their pool and say, okay, send your feedback. Okay, your feedback first will be on maybe on communication.
And see, you are muted. We are not getting you.
Huh?
So because of time, we will ask. Yeah, you can proceed, but we have limited time, so we want to move into the question and answer. So you can proceed, please, but please watch
Oh,
the time because our
okay.
participant, they have lots of questions for you already. Question are already bugging on you. So yeah, we want you to look at the time, please.
All right, thank you. So citizen engagements. We also need partnerships. So, for example, like the issue of rape in rural areas. So government had to partner. So to improve public service delivery in those areas, government can partner with NGOs, government can partner with other institutions to curtail those problems that are faced in rural areas. Like for example, drug abuse. Now, government is not partnering with us directly, but to a certain extent, we have raised awareness in Bon County. And we are also moved to students and tell them the health implication, the social implication, the mental implication for the abuse of drug. So like that, the students are aware and they will know how to go about with drug. And then we also align that with the security sector that are there. And to a certain extent, they are informed the people there. And the students can relate. So for example, how available is drugs in this area? How available is drugs in this area? Government can relate with NGOs that are already into that and collect those data for improvement. And another one that we have the 7 leadership approach. Now, in this approach, leaders invest in training programs and skill development that empower or equip subordinates for effective and efficient service delivery. And this is one of the major things that we have to take off all. So that is the 7th leadership approach. So what the leader do? Okay, they organize seminars, they organize workshop, they send forth their subordinates to go and learn. And when they come back, they can provide services to a larger extent. So that's one thing that I must commend the health ministry. Health ministry is doing well on that. Quite recently, I've been informed through social media reading that there are health workers that are currently in China, in India, that are getting knowledge to come and improve the quality of services provided in our country. So that's one thing. So because of the time, quickly, I want to just run through to my call to actions. And so since we are the direct beneficiaries of these services, it is time to move from passive observation to active participation in showing that service provider meets the existing demands. So all of the demands we have, since we citizens are the direct beneficiary of it, it means we should not just stay back and say that the people think, let people do it anyhow. So if education is not providing the quality of services needed, let's all take action. That is, let have negotiation. Let flag the issue. And when we flag the issue, government will take control of the issue to a certain extent and solve it out. So we should move from the stage of just being passive observer to the stage of being active participants. And so whenever we heard that government have meetings so and so area that has to do with maybe awareness on drug, let all citizens move there. We should not just stay back. It's public service, it's holistic. We should move to government because we have to give the information to government. That is, we have to attend these town hall meetings. We have to engage with other stakeholders because we are one. Let engage with other stakeholders. Let engage with NGOs. Let engage with the security sector if it is drug. Let engage with the security sector. Say these are things we see happening and these are ways we think you can help to solve the issue. Let engage with them, with other stakeholders. Let voice our concern. I mean, for example, you go to GFK and it's quality of services provided to you, it was poor. You have to voice it out because if you don't voice it out, no one will know to a certain extent how the services are provided there. So you have to voice it out, and we should remain actively involved in our community affairs. So, few takeaway: good public service is the foundation for economic growth and development, social equity, and political stability. If we look at the arrest riot that took place in Liberia, it was the government, it was Ministry of Agriculture failure to provide to a certain extent the quantity of rest needed for citizens to increase the rest price. That led to the rest riot. So it means if we provide these services better, there will be political stability, there will be social equity, and there will be economic growth and development. Another one, good public service delivery projects good public image. So as leaders, whenever you want to get a good public image, deliver according to the letter. Meet the existing demands of citizens. Once you meet the existing demands of citizens, automatically you build for yourself a better, a vibrant, and a good public image. A good public image as per an individual can influence the quality of services provided. You know, a person of good public image can influence the services provided by the public set in a public area. So, for example, like assuming that fire service is not delivering to an extent, and you have someone that have good public image, the person when he enters into that entity, he has the propensity to influence it. And also we should remember that even the area too has a propensity to a certain extent to influence him. So it's vice versa. And the lives of citizens and residents in the country reflect the mindset and leaders of that country. So we'll just go to question and answer because of time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That was powerful. And due to time, so we will only be taking 3 questions, and then we will give it over to our speaker to give us his parting comment. Please, 3 questions. Okay. Yeah, Thomas, please, you can unmute and go for your question.
Thomas, please put your camera on, please. We appreciate it.
All right, sir. So, just a question. I appreciate Mr. Mara and who did giving recommending for application tonight. So, is my question tonight a few things.
Thomas, can you please work on the network a little bit? Thomas, can you please work on your network a little bit? You kind of breaking. Yeah, we still not getting you clearly. Can you please work on that?
Okay, I'll come back.
Yeah, much better now. You can go ahead. Much better now.
Okay, thank you. So, I'm saying, if I take an opportunity or responsibility is really appeal for our system. So how do we explain the fact that many people have access to essential activities, essential services? That's our decade of program in the points.
So Thomas, I think I don't know if he already get the question clear, and I tried to get the question, but you started breaking again. So I don't know if you can quickly like leave and come back, or yeah, so we can get you. So we
Yeah,
have
another
another.
thing. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
go.
yeah, before you continue, Matthew, so he can just text his question in the comment section, and we will read it out for him because his network is really bad.
Okay. So he will be back shortly. But we also have another question here for our presenter. Honestly, from the interview we had with Mr. Kamara, we knew that this individual is very strong, and how well he understands this topic, because he have deliberated awesomely. The topic is really at his fingertip, and out of the examples that have been given, relating the discussions to real life stories, real life instances, things that are currently taking place. So we have a question that says, if the primary purpose of public service is to meet the needs of citizens, why do many public institutions struggle to deliver essential services effectively? So we'll just love for you to answer that, and then Thomas can come back with his question. So I don't know if you get the question right, Mr. Kamara. So the question, you are muted. You are muted, sir. So the question says, if the primary purpose of public service is to meet the needs of citizens, Why do many public institutions struggle to deliver essential services effectively? That's the question being asked.
Hello, are we there?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, please read the question again. I didn't get you clearly.
So the person is asking if the
Yeah.
primary purpose of public service is to meet the needs of citizens. Why do many public institutions struggle to deliver essential services effectively?
So thank you. So there are many factors. I mean, honestly, there are many factors. And if we take it on most of it is systemic to a certain extent. But in Labrador, one of the reasons quality services is not being provided to a citizen is the issue of, is the issue of poverty. To a certain extent, is the issue of poverty. Because Ministry of Education wants to actually make all of the public school to have all of those things that are needed. But our budget cannot afford that to all of the public schools in a period of time. So it means, I mean, budgetary allotment also plays a major role. That's one. And another thing too is also corruption to a certain extent. Because I want to say this. Labrador has a long history when it comes to citizen being used at the end. What do I mean when I say that? Now, if you look at most of our politicians at the moment, now we're about to enter 2029. So all of those other years that they were not delivering, once we hit next year, 2027, you'll notice that they will start putting all of those money and start doing all of these things. So it means they has a way of marginalizing the citizen to a certain extent, so that at point in time, they can serve as demand God for the citizen, and the citizen can get trust in them alone. So some of the reason why these services, the quality services are not provided is one, the leadership behavior. And I think I talk about that one of the challenges that we face. The leadership behavior of those public servants. That's one of the major things. The second one is budgetary allotment. Budgetary allotment. So there to a certain extent, just there's no money to provide those services. The money is not sufficient to provide the services. So like air and fire service, for example, maybe their budget, let's assume that 60% or 75% of the money it goes to salary. What can a 25% do to provide fire services to all part of Liberia? It's not just possible to a certain extent. So Liberia is two. It's systemic, and we have the issue of leadership problem, and we have budgetary allotment. So the issue of poverty to a certain extent affects Liberia.
Thank you. Thank you so kindly, Chief. Thank you so kindly. Man, I wish, you could have come on earlier, to really deliberate on this topic because it seems so interesting, to be honest, because we really, really want to learn from you. But then the time, we really press against time. So we'll take Thomas. You can please come in with your question and then we can call it a night.
You're very welcome. So, just that when Mr. Tamara was actually speaking, I think he hit on my question that I asked earlier. So I will not repeat the same again. I'll just go to the next question. So now, please excuse me. So now, uh, it is almost very possible that is based on people's opinion that for a leader or an institution, or let's say a government, to maintain a good public, image, you need to serve. You need to have a meaningful public services or a meaningful public service out there. So now, what should we prioritize as a leader between the public service and that of the public image?
I didn't get a question. just you said, what should we
So the
prioritize?
say, what should one prioritize as a leader between public service and that of the public image?
So the thing here is they both influence each other. They both influence each other. So the thing that is when you deliver good public service, automatically you got a good public image. If you deliver good public service, automatically you got a good public image. So there are ministries that people can praise now currently because of the quality of services being provided. There are ministries that people can praise because of the quality of services being provided. At first, those ministries weren't praised, but currently they can be praised because of the quality of services being provided. So overall, I can tell anyone, and that question, if I want to go from the background you're speaking from, then I want to go to the background where you're thinking now, okay, where leaders like that serve in the house, for example, they focus on building themselves instead of speaking for the citizen or making sure that budgetary allotment are made that translate real impact to the citizen. If you say that, yes. If you say that, now would clearly say focus on the service delivery. Focus on the service delivery. So if you even get a better image and you enter an area and you don't deliver the service, your image doesn't last long. It doesn't last long. But now, in like I was saying, it got a trick where they will do. I mean, they will silence the people once you enter in electoral time or election period. All they do now, they bring out the money and out there they're doing the work for the citizen. And I mean, if I don't get our local party will say, I know, enter begging stand. So once the people get their money now, the people that feed them, they feel happy. Once they say when you feed them, you have feed their stomach, control their mind. So once you feed that man that
Exactly.
period of time, the man mind is being controlled now, the man press you, but you're not delivering the service. So overall, focus on the public service, deliver the service, and let go of the image.
Exactly. Thank you. That was powerful. And I really do believe that, we all participants took a lot. And because of time, we cannot accept any more question. But if you have the question, please do send it to our WhatsApp group chat and we will have it addressed. So our speaker, we give you the floor to please leave us with your parting comment, very brief, please.
You are muted. You are muted, sir. You can just unmute yourself and give us your parting statement, please.
Okay, so I want to say thanks to our vision for the time, and thanks to all of the participants. I mean, you guys are the real hero. You guys are being with us from the first all the way to this time. It's a very good one. And to just leave you, like I said in the takeaway, good public service improve good public image. So to know the leadership style of leaders in our country, look at the minds, the life of the citizen, look at the lives of the resident. The way the quality of services being provided, it tells you the leadership style that is being exerted in our country. So to everyone, thank you so kindly for being patient. I want to say sorry for being late. I mean, I actually got stuck in traffic, that's why I came late. But I mean, thank you, and it's my pleasure.
So thank you so kindly. We really, really do appreciate you being on here with us. We want to say thank you on behalf of Aha Vision. We appreciate each and every one of you for staying with us. We know we, go above our normal time. We want to apologize for that. But ladies and gentlemen, as we bring to this session to a close on public service and that of public image, I want to sincerely again thank each and every one of you for your participation, for your contributions, and your thoughtful reflection on these sections. So today we get to see that our discussions already reminded us that why public image may influence how people see us, but then public service determines that the impact we make in the society. So it is important for us to understand that a good image may attract attention, right? But then if something genuine, like a service or genuine service, is being earned through our trust, unless it is being earned through trust, respect, and that of a lasting influence. So we have learned the true service is not about being seen alone, right? It's about meeting the needs of people. So we want to say thank you for being on here with us. We are inviting you for day 7 tomorrow. And we want you to please come on time, as we will be coming on time as well and closing on time. So we want to say thank you to all of our participants. Thanks to our speaker, Mr. Kamara. We really do appreciate you. And we want to say thanks to our CEO, Mr. Douglas G. Solu, and that of our head of management, Pastor Liverpool Gwen. So we want to say thank you and see you all tomorrow, same time, same uh, venue. And also, please, the attendance sheet, because of time, we already know those that were here. You can please just drop your name into the chat. We will have it recorded and saved for our future references as well. So we want to say thank you and
Thank
see
you.
you all tomorrow.